1.
Hey, what's going on? This is the Fear and Broathing podcast, and today's episode is sponsored by Government Cheese. You melt it, and you can slice it easier, apparently, according to the government. And they have so much of it, they're just giving it away. So, this is the Fear and Broathing podcast. This is Shawn, my friend Joe.
This is Joe.
Yeah, there we go. I didn't know if you're.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you're gonna. I didn't know if you were gonna come in on that one.
I didn't know either. I was laughing about the government cheese thing because I know you were talking about sponsors beforehand, but I wasn't expecting government cheese.
It's because we don't have very many viewers, so we actually we need government assistance.
That's true.
But we're working on it.
We're getting there. We're getting there. Soon, those single digits will become double digits.
I mean,
and then eventually triple digits.
I mean, they're already kind of like, so on YouTube we have double digits, but
Ooh,
on Spotify we have single digits, which is fine. Choose a platform, whatever. But we know what our audience likes to. Well, it's probably because I just post the link to the YouTube videos.
Oh yeah, me too.
So that's I don't know if people know that's on Spotify, but it is.
Well, I mean, how are we getting listeners on Spotify if we're not advertising Spotify? It's just like very lowly. I'm blanking.
Platform.
Advertised.
Yeah, it is. It is poorly advertised on Spotify, but we definitely do a lot of YouTube. Well, not a lot. We do it once a week. We promote. We don't promote very often, so kind of our fault.
Yeah,
too.
just whenever it comes out. Yeah. We're bare minimum promoters.
Yeah, we're kind of a very bare minimum podcast, to be honest. We don't really do any editing, if any. That's why on the next episode that's going to be released, The Guilty, there's at the very end of that episode, you can hear like pots and pans clanging in the back. I think that adds character.
I think so too. I think one of them that's coming up really soon is. I think it was The Guilty. If not, it was the Teen Wolf one. My fucking cat puked on the floor, and I had to leave for a second.
That's good. That's good times. Was it on the carpet? Because it's always on the fucking carpet.
It was.
Yeah.
It was on the carpet.
And if it's not on the carpet, they run to the carpet.
I was just about to say that. Like, our other cat, I think like a week or two ago, was about to puke, and she's puking in front of our door on the carpet. The only places that don't have carpet are the kitchen and the bathroom. So I tried to place her into the kitchen, and she just ran back onto the carpet underneath the table trying to throw up. I'm like, no! I pulled her back over, and she just kept running back onto the carpet. Like, what are you doing? Stop!
Yeah.
Just throw up.
Do it on the floor that I can actually pick it up on.
It's not gonna get set into the carpet.
Yeah, like it's like wet. It's like wet and like clumpy and.
Gross. Oh man, it's easier if it's clumpy because you can just pick it up. But if it's wet, good luck.
Yeah, I cannot do vomit to save my life. Anytime Nugget throws up, I will also start to try. Like I'll start to heave, and then MK will be like, "I'll fucking get it." And it's kind of
you just have to clean up 2 puke.
Yeah,
it's like, well, there's the cat's and there's Shawn's.
And it's almost like a cop out, but also like I know I'm gonna throw up if I'm like, even if I'm touching it with like a tissue or like paper towel, like I know it's there and I can smell it, and it's just like, and sometimes it'll like seep through the absorbent material. Oh, and then it'll touch my hand, and I'm like, ew, 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 ew.
My thing is boogers and blood.
Ugh.
Like I can pick up puke all day. My sense of smell is not very good, so I don't even smell the puke.
I
But
don't I don't mind boogers, and oddly enough, like I can clean the cat litter box without like I can stand poop. Um, but vomit, dude,
poop's a
like
little different.
if I had a goddamn baby, like and they puked on me, I'm throwing that baby away. Like
Did you just get this thing off of me? Chuck it.
disgusting. Who raised
Just
you?
Pukes on you. You're just sitting there dry heaving. That somebody comes to like hurry up and take the baby from you. You just all over the baby.
I puke back. I'm like, that's what you get, bitch. Coming up in a month. I will be in Charlotte, North Carolina. A little bit more than a month. So on the week of I guess it's starting the 23rd of March to the 27th. Oh, that's actually good because we record on Tuesdays usually. I'll actually be back for a recording. So I was about to say maybe we won't be able to record that week, but we will. It's a good thing.
Until the 27th.
Let's see. I'll be back on.
Oh, it's a Monday.
Yeah, I'll be back on the 27th. So yeah, we'll be good. So for those who may not know, I do compete in Pokemon TCG events. I went to Orlando. That was my first one. And then Charlotte will be my second. And then I will be continuing to do that. So you're also following my journey there. I did horribly in Orlando. We've probably already talked about this already on the podcast at one point. But Charlotte will be different. And then there's going to be some new stuff coming out, new cards, new meta, starting after April. So that's going to be fun. My next tournaments after that will be in May. I'll have two events to go to in May. So, but yeah, so I don't even Portland, Oregon, not Portland, Maine. And then we have Hartford, Connecticut.
That's such a weird.
You're
going to
the West Coast and then the East Coast.
Charlotte, North Carolina, and then you're going to Portland, Oregon, which is a very well known. Like I'm pretty sure Charlotte's pretty well known because don't they have a basketball team or used to?
Yeah, it's
Charlotte
the Hornets. Yeah, they went back.
And then Portland's very well known, and then just in the middle of Connecticut for some reason.
Yeah, and then Orlando before that as well. It was very interesting. I've never seen so many palm trees in my goddamn life. It almost seemed like somebody was playing The Sims, and they were just like, "Oh, there's an empty space. What do I put here? A palm tree." They just kept doing that. They were like, I don't know how to fill this empty space. Yeah, let's put another palm tree here.
See, the thing I know about Florida, I went once when I was a kid, and the only thing I know about Florida is that it's hot, palm trees, I guess things. These are plural, not only thing. Hot, palm trees, gators, old people.
Yep. Yeah.
It's all
There's
Florida.
a lot of retirement communities. Like there's resorts. There's, I mean, it's pretty nice to be honest. Like I thought Orlando was pretty
very nice.
Orlando was really fun, but yeah, so many old people. We went to a pub that was like this British pub. British, I use air quotes, but they were like, "This is the best fish and chips in the United States." And I was like, "Well, I haven't tried any other fish and chips in the United States, so I'm gonna take your word for it." So I got it, and it was good. I don't know if it's the best anything I've ever had, but it was pretty good. And then they had they had some really cool beers there too. I'm a very huge craft beer aficionado. So we tried this banana bread beer that was really fucking good. I think I can buy it at my Specs, this local Specs, actually. So not too crazy, But we also had some pretty strong milk stouts that were there. I can't remember the name, but it was delicious as well.
I I'm not a big fan of craft beer. Like, I've tried, I've given it my all.
I'm not a
I'm
huge
more of a mixed drink guy now.
yeah.
I don't really like beer too much. Mixed drinks a lot.
I'm not big on IPAs. Like I can drink an IPA if it's offered to
Mhm.
me, but I will not seek out IPAs. They're too hoppy.
Yeah.
I like
So I
the
always, whenever I think of craft beer, I always think of IPAs. But
yeah.
I guess it's not really the same.
I like a very bitter, very strong like stout beer. Like that's like stout and strong. I guess they're the same thing, but
It's anonymous.
yeah. But it's and I like a beer that you can't see through the glass. Like it's got to be that dark, like a Guinness,
Oh.
like a Guinness.
Yeah, I was gonna say Guinness. Guinness is good. I like Guinness.
Yeah,
It's not really a like craft beer, but
yeah, more
I think it's
domestic for
decent.
sure.
Yeah.
See, now we're adding
I'm
some
not.
personality to the podcast.
Yeah. They found out that Shawn likes craft beer, and I like, um, I don't know, mixed drinks like mimosas. Mimosas.
Oh yeah,
I really
mimosas are
like
great.
mimosas.
I hate vodka, but you throw some cranberry juice in that shit, that is the best drink.
Oh man,
That is the
that's
best
so
drink.
good.
Yeah,
I like mimosa really bad.
I have to limit myself on how much I can drink now because
Yeah.
I have a heart condition. I'm about to. Oh, that's what I was supposed to do today. I was supposed to get in touch with a cardiologist, but I ended up taking a nap. Shawn.
You took like 2 naps
Yeah.
because you texted me at like 10 this morning after I texted you, and then I was like around. You said around 3:30, so I just assumed you like slept for a little bit, and then around 3:30 you were like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go nap." I'm like, "Okay."
I was tired. I don't know what the fuck I did yesterday. I played Final Fantasy X. Uh,
Is that the open world one, or is that the
no, it's pretty
one with the
linear.
blonde guy?
The blonde guy, yes, Titus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude,
that's one of my favorite games of all time. I don't really play video games often.
really?
Yeah, I love Final Fantasy X though. I like JRPGs. I like RPGs in general. Huge Pokemon dork.
See, that's what I play. I
Yeah.
love JRPGs and RPGs in general.
Yep.
I played Hogwarts. Um, did not like it. I know it's a hot take.
I mean,
I did
don't.
not like
I
it.
think it's not a hot take right now because a lot of people are boycotting the shit out of it, but because of just J.K. Rowling, her views,
Yeah. Well, I
and
mean,
the,
she didn't have anything to do with it. It was completely different developers. I think they got the rights from whomever. I think WB, like Warner Brothers. I think that's who they got the rights from. Um, but she didn't touch the game at all. It's
right,
based on her world, and I
yeah,
get why they're boycotting it because of that.
right, and I think like the
But,
storyline was supposed to be something like chasing goblins or something, and like
oh man,
putting them in camps or some shit. Like it's like
it's very very weird. The thing I didn't like about it. Okay, so the thing I do like about it, it's a very inclusive game. Like you can be transgender in it, which is awesome. They have a transgender character, like an NPC that you frequently talk to, which I thought was pretty cool. Very inclusive. They got the hair for different people of color, like spot on. Like it's really good. The thing I did not like about it was the gameplay. Like
right,
there's so many like barriers. Like to continue the story missions, you had to be a certain level and learn this certain skill that you can only get if you do this side quest. But like force you to do all these side quests. And then I beat the last boss And then it's like, oh, I'm just kidding. You got to be level 34 to take your owl exams and then beat the game. I'm like, no, fuck that. I'm done. Like, I am so done. But I didn't like it.
Fair enough. Yeah, I don't really play video games very often. But whenever I do, it's usually like comfort stuff like Final Fantasy X. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I I play them when I'm not like, if I'm not animating or like doing. I got to burp. Um, oh man, you warned me about the carbonated beverages too. um, uh, if I'm not like making art or podcasting or door dashing, I usually play video games. It's just a good way to pass time.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely not knocking anybody who plays video games. I definitely do it from time to time. I'll spend like 8 hours at a time playing fucking Final Fantasies, or I'll play the Pokemon trading card game online. Well, live now. The Pokemon trading card game live. It's something I am very passionate about. Obviously, I go to events for it. But anyway, we've been talking about kind of random shit for the past 16 minutes. I think we can go ahead and delve into the reason why we are here, and that is The History of the World Part 2 by Mel Brooks. 1981. Not, in my opinion, not the best Mel Brooks outing here. I wasn't...
It's
Go ahead.
it's good. It's good. It just has some very 1980s jokes in it.
Yeah, and I guess
that were very uncomfortable.
they won't. They're not going to hold up today just based on how we've evolved as people. But it's just like, and how humor has evolved, and how how seriously we take certain things, like dropping the hard F-bomb.
Yeah,
Not fuck.
which Dom DeLuise did, which I was very disappointed in Dom DeLuise.
Yeah, I mean, it was a different time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's people were allowed to be more offensive back then.
Yeah.
Uh,
There wasn't anyone telling them not to, and even if they did, the voice of the minority was so quiet that they didn't really care.
right. And if you're gonna listen to this and be like, "Well, everybody's just offended by everything," yeah, because shit's offensive, and we can.
Yeah.
And we can choose to be offended by things,
Exactly.
just as much as you can choose to spout off offensive shit. So, but I don't know if any of the listeners we're gonna have is gonna be really, I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna be that type of those type of people to be like, well, you're not gonna, you fucking liberal, fucking piece of shit.
I mean, I'm sure we'll come across them every once in a while.
Yeah.
I hope not, though.
I never did when I was streaming, except for like, there's a couple people who like would follow me, and they're friends of mine, and they believe different things than I did. And then sometimes I would, like, they weren't mean about anything. They were just like, hey, I mean, we have varying views. Like, it was something like that where they're like, I'm going to watch your stream, but, like, the stuff you're saying I don't agree with. And I'm like, that's cool, because I don't agree with anything that you believe. Like, they would be wearing, or they'd be, so on their profile for Twitch, they'd have, like, the only color that matters is blue or some shit like that, or, like, the blue line or whatever the fuck, or the American flag with the blue line or whatever the fuck, like that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Like, blue lives matter too, and it's like, that's a fucking job.
Yeah, exactly. That's not a race.
Yeah,
Like that was the dumbest shit. Like, thin blue line. Like, I just don't fucking get it.
yeah,
Like, why are you so up these people's ass? Like, yeah, police officers put their lives on the line sometimes. Most of the time, they're just driving around.
most of the time they're putting other people's lives on the line.
Yeah, you're right. You right. But to like saying that just completely diminishes the movement that was going on, and that's why it's bad. It's very offensive.
Right. Yeah. And people just don't grasp the concept. Even if you
Yeah.
explain, even if you explain it to them nicely, they're like, "Well, I don't get it." And there's no reason to argue with these people or like
Nah.
because like it accomplishes nothing because their views they're gonna shout their views at you and you're gonna shout your views at them and it accomplishes nothing because you guys are gonna walk away from that conversation or argument with the same views that you walked in with and it's pointless.
Yeah, it really is. But
but
I mean,
it's also
near pointless.
it's also very good to share how you feel and how you
Yeah,
think with people because, like, you know, you never know. Maybe somebody's like, "Oh no, that makes sense," right? But
exactly.
I feel like it's mostly confrontational. So, and I
That's
try to
usually what
avoid
it
that
boils
shit.
down to. Me too. I'm not a very confrontational person. I
I
mean,
can,
I am in like a joking way, but not in like a
yeah.
serious way.
What did you just say to me, cat?
Yeah.
oh,
I'll be
oh,
fighting my cat. Where
I
are you, Bean?
but yeah, this movie starts with people dressed up like monkeys, and it's like the dawning of I guess the world, and monkeys are like learning how to. So they're kind of like waking up, and then they see the sunrise, and then they start like gesturing very offensive. Well, not really offensively. I mean, masturbation's not offensive, but they start like acting like they're jerking off. So it's basically like monkey, and this is the opening scene, by the way. So this is what you're getting into if you watch this movie. Uh, it's
I
just
was I was doing some reading on like the trivia on here, and I guess the joke there is that well, first off, that they're masturbating, they're realizing masturbation, but the genus that they were called were Homo erectus. So, so
okay,
I think it was a play on that too.
gotcha. Interesting. Yeah, monkeys are masturbating. That's the opening scene. And it kind of starts off like a sketch comedy or something and that's what I thought it was gonna be the whole way, but that because like we go from monkeys learning to masturbate to them having the guy who wrote the commandments. He's like, you guys got to follow these 15 commandments, and then they dropped a part of it, and then he was like, now you got to follow these 10 commandments. I thought that was pretty funny, but
That's like the only part before we watched this that I saw was the Old Testament part, and I thought it was the funniest thing. You gotta follow the 15 drops in like, oh, 10 commandments.
that is
Oh, I was so another trivia thing I was reading on this part. So I was reading a lot of trivia about it, but on the 15 on the slab that he dropped at the very bottom it says in Hebrew, do not drop.
that's that's
So
pretty good.
I thought that was funny.
I think that's a pretty clever joke. Yeah, do not drop the slab. Not a lot happens here. They kind of just like let me see. So I kind of wrote down a bunch of jokes that I thought were really funny. So let's see. History of the world, part 1. There's not like a ridiculous story here. I mean, there is. It's like they try to poke fun at the obviously the history of the world, but um, they start talking about the because there's still more about the Stone Age. We haven't talked about the Stone Age part because we kind of moved into the Old Testament pretty quickly, but um, wasn't the
Yeah.
invention of fire like he was trying really hard to light the fire with like a flint and a stone, and then some dude just comes up with a torch already lit.
And he sits there trying to light the rock on fire, and then he's like, ugh, and gives it back to him.
Oh my god! And then there's a scene in it where it's like, oh, and then here we are witnessing the first act of marriage. And then he just like comes up and bonks a lady on the head and drags her back into the cave. And he was like, and then we get the first homosexual marriage. And then he just walks up and bonks a dude on the head and drags him into the cave. That's
And then they had the artist where he's sitting there painting this like I think it's like a cow or something on the wall.
yeah, it's
And
like
then shortly after, the first critic walks in.
and then pisses on it. Okay, now that we're talking about it, some of this stuff is a lot funnier than.
I enjoyed the movie. It's just like the ending I didn't like too much. We'll get to that. But they had some good jokes in it. Like Mel Brooks is a funny dude.
Yeah.
It's just like Shawn said, it's not his best one.
And then so they had the primitive weapons. I thought that was kind of funny too, because like they made the spear and then they launched it at somebody, and then they held the first funeral immediately after. That's pretty good.
They
To think they did
found
a lot
music.
of to think they did all of these like first everything so quickly in quick succession because of another event that happened, like I think that's pretty genius. Like, and how they mourned, they were just like, but they didn't have a lot of time for mourning. So they just chucked him out of the fucking in the cave they were living in. They just chucked him off. Yeah.
I forgot about that. I forgot about the first funeral altogether.
Yeah. um, it was pretty good. And then like you said, the first music. They just dropped rocks on each other's foot, and they were like, ah.
And then they had like a whole orchestra of people, and
Yeah.
just like smashing rocks,
Yeah.
going back and forth.
It is good. It is good.
It was pretty good.
They ended up performing like the Hallelujah thing. So.
Oh yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, and then they so that and it wraps up that wraps up the Stone Age segment. It was pretty short, but yeah, they ended up doing the Hallelujah, Hallelujah, but they're just smashing each other with rocks. And then we that segment, I really like the Stone Age part a lot. It doesn't really
good.
get offensive until we get to the Roman Empire.
Yeah, and that it had a couple offensive. Like it was just the F word. It was really the only offensive part, and it was very briefly. They didn't need it in there.
I could see them. I could see the people being offended by the Old Testament just based on a religious practice. But like personally, I obviously don't give a shit. I don't. I'm not Christian. I'm not Catholic. I'm not pretty atheist. But so comes down to, let's see. So yeah, the Old Testament you could definitely have an argument there where people might be upset and probably have been upset about this movie. I mean, it was released in 1981. I'm assuming that people may or may not have, but I'm assuming that people were kind of up in arms about it.
Oh, more than likely.
Yeah, but I kind of enjoy, or I pretty well enjoyed the Old Testament version by Mel Brooks. He actually plays Moses in this movie. And then
A couple times actually.
yeah, I'm pretty sure they just reused the cast. So, because like Dom DeLuise is in it a few times as well. Whether it's the Roman Empire, the Spanish Inquisition, I'm pretty sure he just plays the same character throughout. Because like it's kind of confusing in that
Was he in
sense.
this?
It's kind of
Was he
confusing.
in the Spanish Inquisition?
I think so because they all end up getting on a horse at the end, which is Miracle, which is a running joke throughout the whole movie, um, in different time periods, which is weird. But it's like, so we got the Roman Empire, and then it goes to the Spanish Inquisition, and then it goes to the French Revolution, and then there's the previews of the next movies coming out. But we don't get another history of the part or the history of the world part. We don't get history of the world part 2 until like later this year, next year or something, right? So it took them almost
Something like this.
yeah. It took them a long time to get that out. Hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully we get Hitler on Ice. That looked really good.
I love the Hitler on Ice part.
Yeah.
It's just so simple but funny.
It's I feel like it's one of those jokes that like a lot of people like they use it in the Fairly Odd Parents. They're like Crash Nebula on ice. But yeah, so the Old Testament, he drops. He walks in. He's got these slabs, and he's like, "We've already talked about it." Where he's just like, "All right, you will follow these 15 commandments," and then he drops the slab, and he's like, "Oi, 10 commandments." And I think really that's I mean that's all we got for the Old Testament.
Yeah, the Old Testament was very quick.
Yeah,
Very quick.
And then we immediately get thrust into the Roman Empire. So yeah, Mel Brooks is comicus. He's a stand-up philosopher. Which
I thought that was funny how he was a stand-up comedian back then. He was a stand-up philosopher.
yeah, exactly.
That was clever.
So he uses philosophy and stand-up comedy, and it's actually kind of funny when he does it, because he's doing it in front of like he's doing it in front of Caesar. He's playing Caesar's Palace, which is fucking hilarious to me. They're like, "Oh my god, you got that gig?"
Oh, he got the. What I thought was funny is he was standing in line for unemployment, and that guy in front of him was I think he was a guard, and she's like, "You kill anybody this week?" He's like, "No." "You try to?" He's like, "Yes." He's like, "Kill anybody last week?" He's like, "Yes." And she hands him the money, and then Comicus comes up, and he's like trying to get his unemployment money, and she's about to hand him the bag, and his agent Swiftus comes up and tells him about Caesar Palace, and he takes it away. I just thought it was funny. The fact that they have unemployment.
Yeah. And oh, there's the whole Vestal Virgin thing, where she's just like, and so I didn't know what a Vestal Virgin was, so I had to like look it up, and I'm still kind of unsure. So let me look at Vestal Virgin again, because it's been
I was reading a little bit. And it says because she was a Vestal Virgin, she just by a touch, she freed Josephus, who is an Ethiopian slave. But I don't get what she is really.
Vestal virgins were chosen from high-born families and were granted privileges that would have been unimaginable for other women in ancient Rome. They could own property, vote, and write a will. They had the best seat at public games, and they even had the power to free condemned prisoners and slaves.
But
doesn't sound bad. They kind of kept making faces like, "Ooh, I don't like that." While the deaths of Vestal virgins are only 4 of the many, they encompass the scope of his reign and were an intentional message to manipulate the Senate.
because like there was a scene where they're both like holding on to her, and she says that she's a Vestal Virgin. They both like and like wipe off their hands.
Yeah. Medusa was a Vestal virgin. Oh, hold on. If they break their vows. Oh, so that might be why they did what they did. They wiped their hands. So if they broke their vows, where does it say? They get prosecuted. So if they have sex, then they'd be put to death. and so would the people who slept with them. That's why.
Oh, Jesus.
Buried alive. Buried
If you touch him?
alive. If you have sex with them.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That's why that joke is there.
Uh,
Twice. Okay. That's a thinker. You gotta actually look shit up.
yeah, that's a smart joke.
Um, another really
Dude,
stupid
people,
random joke in this. Oh, go ahead. You were gonna probably add more to the Vestal Virgin thing.
I was gonna say, ancient Romans were fucked up. Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
that's fucking crazy. It's like you can't sleep with this woman, or we'll bury her and you alive. Probably not in the same place because then you probably just fuck all the time.
They had to do that a few times to get it right before
Yeah.
they realized what they were doing wrong.
They're like, I can still hear them.
I
It's
don't
like-
know if that moaning is of pleasure or if it's from dying, but we can't have that. We'll just move them to another grave.
Yeah, fuck, man. That's terrifying. That's definitely a fear of mine. That's irrational because I know it'll probably never happen. But being buried alive terrifies the
dude.
fuck out of me.
Same here.
I watched that movie Buried with Ryan Reynolds, and it's honestly not bad. Like, somebody was like, "Oh, dude, it's just Ryan Reynolds being in a coffin for 2 hours." First of all, it's an hour and a half, and secondly, yeah, that's pretty fucking terrifying, and he does a really good job at portraying that.
I think I've heard of that movie.
Yeah, he's it's surprisingly good. It's definitely a movie that's low budget, but it's like, yeah, he's buried alive. That's the focus, and he's trying to survive being buried alive. That's the point of the movie, and it's I think it's really good. I think it's a very compelling movie. He has he doesn't have any phone service underground. So and he's trying to find I think it's really good. He has to deal with like snakes and shit in underground, and I think it's cool. But
When did it come out?
I don't know. I think I remember watching it in like 2012, 11, something like that. Let me see.
Oh, okay. That's probably why I haven't heard of it. Because if it was more recently, I probably would have.
2010. Yeah.
Damn.
It's an English language survival thriller film. Stars Ryan Reynolds. Story about an American civilian truck driver who, after being attacked, finds himself buried alive in a wooden coffin with only a lighter, a flask, a flashlight, a knife, glow sticks, pen, pencil, and a mobile phone. They gave him a lot more than I would.
I was
Holy
about to
fuck.
say, like, Jesus, they gave him, like, tools to survive.
Yeah.
They wanted him to leave.
Yeah. That's crazy. I guess it was just on his person. But
Why would he have glow sticks on him?
yeah, maybe he was
Did he
going
just
to
come back from a raid?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, he was doing some partying. He had a flask too. I was surprised
Yeah.
I was surprised it wasn't like and a bag of ecstasy. Don't take this underground. Another
Yeah, on him was a pound of Molly.
yeah. He took it all at once whenever he was underground.
He was very happy before he died.
Yeah. He was ecstatic, if you will.
Ecstatic.
So another really silly joke during the the Roman Empire was they were like, get your plumbing, and he's like, you pipe the shit out of your house. That's that's not as clever as the Vestal Virgin joke, but it is 100%.
That was good.
It 100% got me. Like I remember laughing pretty hysterically about that.
I think my favorite joke, one of my favorite jokes in the Roman Empire one, was it was very subtle. And get it until I reread everything like in the trivia. But whenever you see Oedipus, he's like, obviously everyone knows the story about Oedipus. He was a king who killed his father, married his mother. And whenever they're walking by him, and he's like, "Hey, Josephus," he like slaps his hand and goes, "Hey, motherfucker." And it didn't really process in my head until later. I thought that was good.
Hey, motherfucker. That's so fucking funny. So they're
Like,
about
this movie had good jokes, just not as good as like Spaceballs or Blazing Saddles.
yeah. Spaceballs is probably one of my favorites.
So good.
I was watching it on my break at work because they just had it on the TV at Delta, and I thought that was really funny. So I was on my lunch break, and I was like, "This is fucking Spaceballs!" Like, it was I walked in on the scene where they're like watching, so they're like, "Oh, get the VHS copy," and then they get the Spaceballs movie and they put it in. They're like, "Oh, rewind it back just to see where they are." Like that shit's fucking hilarious. That's like that's like brilliant comedy. Rick Moranis as this is a Darth helmet or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I like one of the really subtle jokes in it, and it's not really just a joke. It's just kind of like something stupid that they did was put a tie on him. Like, he had this whole like Darth Vader outfit and his big ass helmet. He just had a tie on.
Yeah.
Me and my brother regularly quote the radar guy.
Yeah.
He's like, he's got the beeps, boop, 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 the sweeps, and then the creeps. And then I don't know what he does for the creeps. But that guy is funny.
The Schwartz.
Yes, use the Schwartz. My
like,
Schwartz is bigger than yours.
My Schwartz is bigger than yours. I'm pretty sure Keith, our friend Keith, he calls penises Schwartz because of that movie. He's like, you gotta use your Schwartz, Shawn. It's like show your Schwartz, show your Schwartz. Or like he would talk to me like, did you show her your Schwartz yet? Like, no. It's like we just went on a date.
I think another really good joke in Spaceballs is they're talking about combing the desert, and they're with big ass combs.
Yeah.
Combing the desert, and he's asking all them, like, "Did you guys find anything?" And like he goes for like a couple people saying no, and then these dudes are using the pick. There's a really shallow comb, and he's like, "You guys found anything?" He's like, "Man, we ain't found shit."
We ain't found shit. That's gold.
Such a good movie.
But yeah. So anyway, the Roman Empire. If we get Spaceballs, we'll talk more in depth about Spaceballs. We're not gonna.
I love Spaceballs.
So we did the Oedipus joke, the plumbing pipe the shit out of your house joke. They get to the Caesar's palace, and Caesar's sitting there, and isn't Caesar Dom DeLuise? Am I wrong?
Oh, it's actually Emperor Nero.
Ah. Oh, okay.
I thought
Emperor
it was
Nero.
Caesar for the longest time.
I was wondering if they were gonna like stab him or something, but they didn't. But yeah,
I was waiting for that because I thought it was. This is saying it's Emperor Nero.
Yeah, that
and
makes sense.
That's probably why he didn't get stabbed.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, so Emperor Nero, he's sitting there. He burps and farts a lot. He's eating. He drops the F-bomb.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I can laugh.
Mel Brooks.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, I can laugh at a fart, but this didn't do it. This didn't do it for me.
No.
But
the movies is kind of played out.
Comicus is pretty fucking funny though. He tells some pretty good jokes. And then he starts joking about like he starts talking about like the Roman Empire, like and that offends everybody in the crowd. And he's like, kill him, and then They bring out Josephus to fight him, and they start like messing around with these like wooden swords that they gave him, and they were just like, oh shit, why don't we just use these weapons to fight the Roman soldiers, and then we can escape instead. And then they also get help from the Vestal Virgin to escape. This is a weird scene, but they had like, it was slapstick humor. I think at its finest, it was pretty good slapstick. I don't know what you took out of that, but
Out of them fighting.
yeah,
Yeah, I say it was pretty slapstick, honestly.
yeah, it's definitely pretty goofy. There's not a whole lot to explain here. It's very
Yeah.
physical comedy, so like trying to explain physical comedy is not gonna get a laugh or anything. So, because it's physical comedy for a reason. Um, they end up going into a room where I believe, let's see, no, Miriam helps
What
them.
was her
Miriam's the
name?
girl.
Hold on, let me try to find because I think it says Empress Nympho
Empress Nympho.
is her name.
They escape. And then, yeah, Empress Nympho and a horse named Miracle. But that's beforehand. They end up going up to a room. Let's see. Josephus absentmindedly pours a jug of wine into Nero's lap and is ordered to fight Comicus to the death. In a gladiatorial manner, they fight their way out of the palace. They did. They fought their way out, and then Empress Nympho had a horse that they found earlier when they were at the gallows. Or no, it was the head chopping thing. It wasn't the gallows. It was they were chopping off their heads. But they ended up getting a horse
Wait.
named Miracle. They're like, we're gonna need a miracle, and then the horse comes out. Um, and that happens multiple times throughout the movie.
Oh no, the first time they find him, Miracle is he's laying on his side, and Comicus comes up and removes a rock that he had embedded into his
Right.
horseshoe. That's the first. Okay.
Because the Roman guard was like, we're gonna have to kill him, or we're gonna have to put him
Yeah.
down, and they were like, no, he's fine. He's just and then he took the rock out, and he got up, and he was fine.
He was all cool. It was all kosher.
Exactly. um, so then the thing happens where they tell the jokes, and Dom DeLuise farts and says the F bomb. And then after that, Miriam helps Comicus and Josephus and Swiftus. So they were in Nympho's palace. Oh, the eunuch scene. The eunuch scene was pretty funny, because they had Josephus standing there, and he was like, I can prove he's not a eunuch. And then they have this like really attractive girl start dancing, and then nobody's feathers are lifting. Which I think is also a play on ruffling feathers, which I think is fucking hilarious. So
get that.
she goes down the line, and she's not ruffling any feathers, and then she gets to Josephus, and then he just like immediately has like this like really large erection because he's black. So there's jokes like that in here, but I don't think that's I don't think that's a racist joke. It's like a more stereotypical. I guess that does make it kind of racist. But like, if there's any stereotype, I don't think having a Big Johnson is gonna be the tipping point. I don't think it's gonna be like, hey, don't say that about my race. I think,
I'd love to have a stereotype about having big dongs.
yeah.
It'd be nice.
Instead, we just have stereotypes about how we own slaves. That's not a stereotype. That's a real thing that happened.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I thought you were gonna say small dongs, but
I don't know about that. I think there's different races that have the stereotypes for small dongs. I
Okay.
think we're on the average side, which is fine.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
I'm okay with being average. This is an average podcast. Got average dongs. That's fine.
Average Joe and average Shawn.
Yeah. You are an average Jew.
Bean. Hey.
Did you say your cat's name is
Yeah.
Bean?
Yeah.
That's funny.
She's chewing on a bag right now. Stop it.
As they do.
There's Bean and Spud
Bean and Spud.
because he's dense like a potato. Very stupid.
Oh my god. Oh my
My
god.
daughter was over here and she couldn't remember the name Spud, so just kept calling him Potato.
That's good. Hey, potato.
Hey, potato, tater.
But yeah, so she's doing a seductive performance. He gets an erection. They start chasing them again. I almost expected like Scooby Doo music to start playing, like this.
Running in and out of like different rooms.
Yeah, exactly. I know a lot of.
That would have been good.
I don't even know if Scooby Doo existed back then. It might have. I don't remember when.
Yeah,
Like
it did.
it did.
It came out in the '60s.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, then that would have been fucking funny. But like old Hanna-Barbera cartoons followed a very simple like structure. But
Yeah.
That's why it's so
They
whenever I
run
was,
in and out of rooms. Shaggy gets scared. They rip off a fake mask. It's all the same.
yeah, exactly. Like, and I feel like that was just Hanna-Barbera in general. Like whenever I was watching them as a kid, I would get so bored watching like Scooby-Doo and like Yogi and all that shit. Like, it's all the same. Give me some Rocko's Modern Life. Give me some All Real Monsters. Like,
My daughter loves Scooby Doo. I don't like. I tried to watch them, and like after like 3 or 4 episodes, I'm throwing in the towel. Like,
yeah, dude, because
it's all the same.
yeah, it's like an episode of NCIS. Like, it's god damn it.
There he goes, taking off his sunglasses again.
Yeah, god damn it. I think that's a different show. I think that's CIA or something. Or no, it's what is it? Crime Scene CSI Miami. David Caruso. Ow, that guy. Yeah. He says a one-liner, takes off his sunglasses. Ow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
I get it
NCIS.
mixed up.
Yeah, NCIS is, it has that girl in it that everybody has like a hard on for some reason. Like the really like goth dressed girl. It's like, if you guys were into goth girls, why the fuck were you not into them in like high school? Like,
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm the weird one? Fuck you. Yeah.
Bean.
Fuck.
Hey.
So Josephus is outed as not being a eunuch. He's still got his testicles intact, and his penile region is intact. He instructs them. So they're getting away in a cart, and then the Roman Empire is chasing them in another cart, and they've only got one horse, so they're kind of slower than the cart that's chasing them. So they're gaining on them pretty quickly. And then Josephus is like, hey, pull over. And they're like, we're kind of in the middle of something. He's like, no, dude, seriously, just pull over real quick. And then, which honestly I don't understand, because they were being chased and they were not going very fast to begin with. They probably should have just been caught here. But so Josephus, he's like, pull over, and he's like, oh, that's papyrus. And they're like, what? And then he's like, and he rolls a joint, because he's black. He rolls a joint, and then he doesn't like smoke it. He just kind of like holds it off to the side of the cart, and he starts getting all of the Roman soldiers like baked as shit. So they slow down. He calls it a mighty joint.
Pull off to the side.
It's a
Pull
fucking
off to the side, and they're all like dancing and like talking about how the Roman Empire sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, and then
I thought
like
that was kind of funny.
their commanding officer, he like pulls up. He's like, "What are you guys doing? Shouldn't you be chasing the prisoners?" And they're like, they start getting high too, and then there's like a dance party that happens, and then that's kind of the end of that scene. um, and then so they go to Judea or Judea. Um,
It's Judea.
yeah, they set sail to Judea, and then so Comicus ends up getting a job waiting tables. And honestly, I think this is a really funny joke where he's waiting a table. He's like, "Oh, there's a big party in that room. Don't fuck this up." And then he goes in there and he's like, "It's the Last Supper, basically." And then Jesus is like, "You guys betray or you guys, what do you guys betrayed me?" And then Comicus says, "Judas." And then he almost
Judas is like, huh, what?
and so he keeps trying to push. He keeps trying to push mulled wine to them. I don't really get that joke because I don't really know much about the Last Supper in the Bible. So was there like something about mulled wine in the Bible that made this funny? Because he kept pushing it. He's like, because you know how restaurants work, where they're like, "Oh, well, if you're your server, try to push this on the guests. We're trying to sell it." They kind of did that here with Comicus, because the guy who owns the restaurant was like, "Try to push the mulled wine. We got an abundance of it." So he's like, "Oh, would you guys like to try some of this mulled wine?" And then they're just like, "Nah, nah, nah." But the Judas thing got me. And then so they start just like talking back and forth, and then eventually Leonardo da Vinci comes in, and then he's like, I'm here to paint the portrait. You guys asked to get a group portrait painted." And then he's like, "I don't really like the way you guys are sitting, though. This is not good for me." So he has them move to the side of the table where he can paint their faces, and that's apparently how we got the painting of the Last Supper. So he paints them.
Amicus stands behind Jesus with the platter that he's holding.
Yeah,
Holds it like above his head, like the halo.
Yeah, exactly. He looks just like that. It's so fucking funny.
I thought that was good.
And then that's the end of the. Go
The
ahead.
Roman Empire one. And then the next one is the Spanish Inquisition, which was a musical, which I thought was really good.
Yeah.
Had some good jokes in it. Apparently, this period alone cost them $1 million to do.
I could see that. One of the best jokes is one of the first jokes of the whole segment where they were like talking about Torquemada, and then what was the joke that he said? He was like, fuck, I can't remember the joke.
He's like, "Don't talk to Torquemada about this. Don't talk to him about that." And apparently, you can't Torquemada anything.
Yeah. You can't Torquemada anything. Then we get some torturing and stuff. So it's a musical portion of the movie. So I don't remember any of the lyrics to the songs or anything, but it's the Spanish Inquisition portion of this movie is definitely worth a watch. If you haven't seen it, there's a
Spanish Inquisition.
Yeah.
That's all I remember. It's the
There's
Spanish Inquisition.
There's a lot of it's very clean. Like there's no gore or anything, but there's a lot of torturing happening. There's Iron Maidens that are spinning around because it's a musical, so it looks like the torture devices are dancing as well. So that's pretty funny. There's a water torture device, and nuns are performing. They're doing like a synchronized dance. So I think and they're drowning people by doing a synchronized swimming routine, and that's pretty fucking funny.
They were playing the knees of the people, like they were xylophones, like doo doo doo
Yeah.
doo doo doo. That was good.
So
I
the
actually learned a lot about the Spanish Inquisition here because I didn't really know that it was people trying to convert people out of Judaism to Christianity. I
Catholicism.
had no idea. Catholicism? Oh,
Yeah.
my bad. But yeah, I had no idea,
Yeah. So they were
which I thought was
I don't
very
remember what
informative.
year, but they were trying to make Jewish people become Catholic, and a lot of them were refusing. So they ended up torturing them and killing them. It's a it's a whole thing.
Pretty dark.
Yeah,
Pretty dark.
it's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing. It's a whole few hundred years.
You don't see people denying the Spanish Inquisition, but they do deny the Holocaust. So
Which is odd that you deny it.
yeah, I mean
Either.
the Holocaust was I mean, I won't say that one tragedy is worse than another, but I kind of am, because it kind of like it more than doubled like the numbers of the Spanish Inquisition in a shorter amount of time.
Yeah.
Like that's fucking insanity, and it was targeting the same group of people, the same minority.
Um wasn't it like somewhere close to like 60 million?
Yeah, for the Holocaust. Yeah, it was a lot,
Yeah.
fucking a lot. it's it's bad. This is very bad.
Really bad.
Spanish
The
Inquisition.
fact
I
that
don't. I
people
don't. I don't
deny
know what
is
the
weird.
numbers were for the Spanish Inquisition though. I can look that up. Spanish Inquisition death numbers.
Inquisition.
Uh, it's weird that I looked up Spanish Inquisition and they put it was like right after it was like Monty Python question mark. Nope.
No.
Death toll
300,000.
300,000. Holy shit. 30,000 to 300,000. So they're kind of unsure on that. Some
Oh, did you
historians,
get 30,000 too?
some historians are convinced that millions died. I mean, I could see that.
Oh, yeah.
I think
I
Hitler
mean, it
just
lasted like 400 years almost.
yeah. I feel like they just didn't have the technology to go like and implement things that Hitler did, like gas chambers and ovens and stuff like that. Like he would just burn people,
Yeah.
or he would put them in a gas chamber, or just
They've just starved to death.
starve to death, or they would have them dig holes and just have them shoot them in to their holes. Like that was their
Yeah.
graves. They would make them dig their own graves, and then Hitler would command the Nazis to just shoot them. Like they would line up. They would line up the Jewish people they had in these concentration camps, and then they would have them dig up their own graves, and then they would just in a line, just like a firing squad, just shoot them all dead. It's fucked.
That's really fucked up. The fact that people deny it is even more fucked.
Yeah, no, that's I definitely agree with that. But yeah, it was definitely. I mean, both eras really bad for the Jewish community.
Yeah.
That's
It
pretty.
just
It's
it
pretty
goes to
rough.
show that Jewish people have been through a lot more than I thought.
Yeah, they definitely have, and it's fucking. What was I about to say? Fuck. I had a
Come on,
thing.
Shawn.
Yeah, I was trying to think of something, but oh, it also proves that and this is my personal opinion, but it's also a very well a very well adapted, I guess. I don't know what I'm trying to say. People have adapted this ideology that religion is bad because it causes more war than it like it does more bad than good. Like organized religion does more bad than good.
Yeah, I feel the same. I feel like religion can teach you very good morals. Like there are some really nice, sweet religious people out there, but I
Right,
think a lot of the
right,
times
but then they
too.
base it
Uh,
on the fact that they're religious, that they're doing those nice things. So really, is it that good? Because
some
like,
people are, but I've met a lot of people who don't, and it's really just about like the territory you're in, and the severity of the religion. Um, because I've met some really nice. Okay, so I went on a trip to Washington a couple years ago. We did a road trip, and before we went that way, we went to Ohio to stay with my friend's cousin's mom, he hadn't seen in like 10 years. And she's a heavily religious, and he joked with her saying that they just picked me up on the side of the road. This whole time that I was staying with them, she was like super nice to me, like very polite, and she thought I was a homeless man. So like, and she wasn't doing it because of religion. She was just a really nice, sweet lady.
yeah,
But there are some very bad religious people too. It's it's kind of like a 60-40 kind of situation, or maybe like an 80-20.
right. I mean, I don't know if I'd put a percentage on it, but I mean, I feel
Yeah,
like I've met a lot of people who are like, oh, I believe in God and I believe all these things, and there are reasons why I would do something over not doing something, and that's because God would want me to do this. And it's like, well, why don't you just do it because you would think it's a good thing to do? Um,
yeah. See, that's another thing that kind of like ties into why I think karma is bullshit. It's because to get good karma, you have to be a good person, but it kind of defeats the like point of being a good person. Like you should just be a good person without any kind of reward.
yeah,
But
yeah.
with getting good karma,
Be
the
good without
reward
expecting
is yeah,
like the sun.
exactly. And that's what I think karma is bullshit, because if you're doing it to get good karma, then you're not really doing it to be a good person. You're just doing it so you get something out of it.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I agree. That's pretty disgusting. So that just
Yeah.
it just goes to show that like even if you're doing good things, you can still be a shitty person. So um,
Yeah.
like you could be like a philanthropist and you're like donating all this money to like charity, like good
Full on
charities
rapist.
too. A full on rapist. God damn it! It's always sunny. Yeah, I'm a full on rapist. You know, kids, homeless, that sort of thing.
Elderly.
Kids, elderly, that sort of thing.
No, but I agree with you. Like you could be a philanthropist and still be a really shitty person,
Yeah.
like Bono.
uh, hello. What the?
I love the South Park where he's on it and he's like, he keeps answering the phone. He's like, "Hello." Hello.
Hello. Isn't he Irish?
Or he's like walking up to the stage. Yeah, he's Irish. He's like walking up to the stage. He's like,
Oh, you cut out.
"Did I?
Yeah.
Am I back?"
Yeah, he walked up the stage and he did what?
He's like dancing and pointing. He's going, yeah. He does that a couple times.
That's hilarious. Isn't he like the record holder for the biggest shit ever taken?
Yeah, but he is the biggest shit.
Yeah. That show, man. God damn it.
I know, it's good.
We're gonna eventually watch every movie ever made, and we're gonna move on to every episode of South Park. New podcast coming soon. It's just us, and we're talking about South Park.
Just watch South Park.
Yeah.
Even the band episodes.
Even the band episodes. Yes. But yeah. Anyway, yeah. I guess we're walking into the French Revolution, and so we've got Madame Defarge. It's Cloris Leachman. Holy
Wait,
shit. She's inciting a mob to the. She's inciting a mob because the French are underlooked and they're all impoverished. So they're gonna start doing something about it. And that's the beginning of the French Revolution, if you didn't know.
I didn't realize Cloris Leachman was. Okay, we just watched a show with her in it. Like she was in Malcolm in the Middle. She was in the show we
Gold.
just watched too. That was made by the same writer who wrote My Name Is Earl,
Mm.
Raising Hope.
Ah, yeah, yeah,
She
yeah.
was like,
Yeah, she's
it's
also
good. I
in
liked
the
it.
Golden Girls, right? Cloris Leachman was in the Golden Girls. Am I
Was
wrong?
she? Ooh, shit. She was in Beverly Hillbillies. I know that.
I don't know. I don't think she was in the Golden Girls. Yeah,
She's in Young Frankenstein.
yeah, yeah. She's definitely in some Mel Brooks work, for sure. Obviously.
I'm not seeing. No, I don't think she was in Golden Girls. I'm not seeing it at least.
Yeah, me either. I thought she was. I know Betty White was.
Yeah, yeah, she definitely was. I don't know the names of the other women that were in Golden Girls.
Oh, Cloris Leachman died. Holy shit! I didn't know that.
Shit, she did.
She was
She's born
not.
in Iowa.
She was. I actually spent some time in Des Moines, but yeah, she was 94 years old. Crazy. I mean, not crazy.
Damn.
Old people do be dying, but
Yeah.
it's so weird to me when people are like, "Oh my god, I didn't expect that." Like when Hugh Hefner died, they were like, "Oh my god, really?" I was like, "Yeah, dude, he was old as fuck."
Ancient. Oh, speaking of Hugh Hefner, he was in History of the World Part 1.
Was he?
He was yeah, because I guess all the virgins were all Playboy models.
Oh
That's what I was
right.
reading. And he was oh, who did he play? He was trying to sell something. He was in it for like a split second, but who was he? Where are you? Jump to no.
An entrepreneur. He was just a regular ass entrepreneur. He was just trying to sell something.
Yeah.
Don't know what it was though.
No, yeah, it's gonna take too long to find it.
But yeah. Anyway, so King Louis is he's warned that by his advisor Count de Monet, but he keeps calling him Count de Money. He says that all the time. He's just like, "Hey, Count de Money. My name's Count de Monet."
Hey.
And then
Gets progressively more and more pissed about it.
yeah.
Nay.
So he's like, I don't think the peasants like me, and they don't, because he's doing the thing where like you're like pull, and then they usually it's like a clay disc or something, and he shoots it, but it's just a peasant. It's like and he's shooting. That was to me that was the funniest joke of the whole movie. And I don't know why. Like, I just laughed so hard. He was like, I don't know why the peasants don't like me. Pull. And, and he shoots the peasant out of the air. It's so fucking funny. But then,
Oh god.
it's just like, so they are, yeah, they're the peasants are the clay pigeons in this scenario. Oh, the game is called Skeet. That's funny.
Oh yeah.
Mademoiselle Rimbaud shows up, and then King Louis. Well, first he's like, there's just like a slew of like women that he's like putting his face into her boobs or something, or he smacked Marie Antoinette's ass. And he's every time he does something like skeevy, he's like, "It's good to be the king," and he does that like a million times. I wrote here
Mm,
that every time he says it, it starts to lose more and more meaning because he's just like, "It's good to be the
yeah,
king," and he always like spikes the camera. He like stares right at it. He's like, "It's good to be the king." Um,
that's the parts that were kind of like uncomfortable for me, just because it was just so very 1980s sexualized humor.
yeah.
It was just kind of like, eh.
There's also a scene. I think
Like,
it kind of. I think it was. There's like a human chess game, and that was kind of funny at first because it was like, pawn to D whatever the fuck, and threaten the bishop, and then he just goes, or no, he raised his fist and he goes, mm. He threatened the bishop. That was funny. But then there's like, all right, now pile on the queen, and they're like, you're like, what? And then they're like, yeah, pile on the queen, and then there's a gangbang that happens.
yeah, he screams out "gang bang," and then they all go and they don't actually get naked, but it's implied.
Yeah,
Um,
some of them are
they're all
like
just
removing
laying
their
on top.
pants and stuff.
Yeah, it was a very sexual a bit, like because he kept it was a very sexual king, and like that's all his character was just I want to have sex with that, I want to have sex with that,
Yeah,
and that's kind of where Mademoiselle comes into play, because she wants him to free her father, who had been in prison for 10 years because he said the poor ain't so bad, and he agrees to pardon her under the condition that he has sex with her that night, or she has sex with him that night.
yeah, and she's like, I don't want to do that because I forgot what her reason. She's like, well, she's a virgin and she's saving herself. Um, and he's like, well, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, and then he's like, you gotta hump me, and she does agree to indeed hump him for freeing her father. Um, we actually do see Monet before he talks to, uh, what's his face, the King Louis, and then he's like, is that the count where he's like, somebody walks up to him and he's like, wee wee, and he's like, yes, a lot of it, and then
Uh,
he like has this.
Garçon de Piss is Jacques, the piss boy.
Okay. Garçon de piss.
Yeah, that's
He,
what that's
he
what it
tries to
says.
hold buckets for the king. Oh, it's for the king. Oh, and his advisors. So it is
Yeah,
Count de Money who is uh, who is peeing into this bucket. There's just a shit ton of pee. Um,
yeah, you can hear it swishing around while he's walking. It's like it's very full. It's his big ass bucket too, that he's like hauling around.
yeah. um, so yeah, it's I think they after that they start a plot where since the French Revolution is happening, they dress somebody up to be the king. It's is it the count or is it the piss guy?
The piss boy,
Yeah.
because
Okay.
it's they're both Mel Brooks.
Gotcha.
And they're
Okay.
like, don't you look like the piss boy?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. So the piss boy gets to be dressed up as the king, and then they're like talking about what's gonna happen. And it's like, well, I'm going to escape. The king gets to escape, and he's like, you will be murdered. He's like, wait, what? He's just like, what? So so after that happens, he's just like freaking the fuck out. But he gets a knock on the door, and it's the madame, and then she's like, okay, take me, and then she shows her boobs. Well, not really. Like she shows her brassiere. Um, and
Oh
then
yeah, her like was it corset?
Yeah, he's like, what the fuck? He's like, okay. And then so she comes in. He's like, just take me. We must do this. And he's just like, I don't know if we have to or not. um, and then, sorry, I'm just trying to remember everything.
I know he's like looking for the pardon, and he like looks in the wrong drawer, and there's just a bunch of execution.
He's like, execution. Where are the pardons? And he looks in another drawer. And he's like, oh, you got today's your lucky day. We got one. And then
He signs it. There's a couple jokes with the signing. I can't remember what he says though.
He's like, how do you
I thought they were kind of funny.
He's like, how do you spell Louis or something like that? Or oh no, he says
something like that.
He says how do you write 13th or 16th, and shit like that. He's just like very confused about how to sign the name, and he does say a couple of other things. I can't really remember them off the top of my head. I probably should have wrote them down.
Yeah.
But
But he ends up pardoning her father,
yeah,
who is senile, and he has a bunch of birds as pets. Who, after he gets pardoned, he takes them out their cages and goes to throw them into the air to fly away, and they just keep thudding to the ground.
Yeah,
Just one after the other. It's just thud.
That's that's good. But then they're taken to the. No, I think that's later. So when Bob and her senile father return from the prison, the peasants burst into a room and capture the piss boy and king, and Rumbad. Then they get taken to a guillotine. Mademoiselle. They get taken to a guillotine for the crimes committed by the crown. When asked if he would like a blindfold or any last words, Jacques declines. However, when they test the guillotine, Jacques makes a final request for Novocaine. The dialogue recognizes this as an anachronism when the executioner declares, "There is no such thing known to medical science." And then
Jacques like, "I'll wait."
Yeah, I'll wait. Uses that only. Yeah, and then they go, "Oh man, only a miracle can save him now." And then this is a recurring joke, but they end the movie on it. So it's like, only a miracle can save him now. And then Josephus shows up with Miracle the horse, and then everybody's riding on it, and then they all escape Paris and ride away into the sunset. And then the mountain says the end on it, which is interesting.
They're like, "We're coming up on the end. How do you know? Just look at the mountain."
Yeah. And that is History of the World Part 1. And I thought it was funny in a lot of parts. I thought it was less funny in other parts. I would say that honestly I was put off by some of the humor that got passed off and was fine in the 80s, despite there being gay people in the 80s. We just did not give a fuck about people at all back then. But yeah, honestly, I laughed a lot. I had a good time. I'd say it's a very average. It's a very average comedy for me. I would say about 6 out of 10. Like maybe 5.5.
I was thinking about like about 6 or about 6.
Yeah. It's kind of I mean, if it were another Mel Brooks movie, I think maybe it would be it would be better, but it is not. Then we had a list of previews, which was great. Which it was like the end of the movie is like, oh, coming soon, and here's a Hitler on ice, and then you just see Hitler skating around, and then he does some Hitler things.
It does Hitler things. I don't remember the Viking funeral though.
It starts with just like them burning a boat, and then they're kind of all just like crying. And then that's
Oh, and then they
that's
take off their helmets and they all have horns.
yeah.
Like it was made to look like the helmets had horns. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they actually had the horns. And then this is in quotes, Jews in space. And it's a parody of Star Wars, which I think is kind of like, well, when did Spaceballs come out? Because I think they
A few
were,
years later.
yeah, this might have been like the prototype for Spaceballs, 1987. So it was actually 6 years later.
Okay. I know it says here that the song that they were singing for Jews in Space was actually it turned out to be the Robin Hood Men in Tights song.
Ah,
Or Men in Tights.
yeah, that makes sense. I do like Men in
I
Tights
thought
too.
it sounded familiar. It was good. I love Men in Tights. I watched that a lot as a kid.
Yeah, me too. Uh,
I'm out, bad guys. I need some air. And he airs up his shoes.
yeah.
It's like, time in.
Richard Pryor was supposed to play Josephus, but
Yeah, I saw that.
he got hospitalized, so he wasn't able to shoot.
He was also hard, from what I've read, very hard to work on sets with, just because he was like always on drugs and he's just he would like act out a lot.
Yeah, I can see that.
Kind of like there's another actor that was really hard to work with. He played the Godfather. I can't remember his name. He's like a really big actor. He had like a few movies in the beginning. He's like one of the pioneers, besides like James Dean, with method acting. And he got to a point where he would be in a movie and it would cost them so much money that they would end up either not making the movie, or it's just it would come out like way more low budgeted than it was supposed to be.
Right.
I can't remember his name though.
Um,
But
a-
he
a
was
li-
like he was an actor a lot like that.
I like these like little interesting facts here. Let me see. So Mel Brooks was like he was walking to his office at 20th Century Fox, and somebody was like, "Hey, you working on a new one?" He's like, "Yeah, some random movie, the biggest movie ever made. It's called History of the World." And they're like, "How are you gonna cover the whole world in one movie?" He's like, "You're right. I'll call it History of the World Part 1." And then 50 years later, we're getting a part 2. He's going to be dead before you can even make a third.
I know. I guess at the French Revolution segment, the street sign said Rue de Merde. I'm butchering that so bad,
Yeah.
but it's French for shit street.
That's good.
I thought it was funny.
Uh,
Yeah, these are the ones I was reading earlier. I was waiting for the call. I guess John Cleese was supposed to be in this movie.
yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
There's a lot of people who are supposed to be in this and they weren't, but that's fine. We got a decent movie. You got Dom DeLuise, for fuck's sake. So
Yeah.
now I think all that's left is to choose a movie for next time. So let's go ahead and I will share my screen. I'm only operating on one screen right now since I'm temporary work at home. I'm using one of my monitors for work. So let's see. Share screen.
Okay.
History.
How's it go, by the way?
Work at home is awesome. I love it, and it's only temporary, unfortunately. But I'm contemplating just being like, look, my health isn't great. My heart. I don't want to have a heart attack at work or have that have to be carted out again at work. Maybe if I just worked at home, it'd be better for me. And see how that goes. But
I've always wanted to work at home.
oh, it's amazing. I can go to the kitchen on like breaks and just be like, I'm eating food at home. I don't have to pay a shit ton of money. It's great. All right.
Deal with coworkers.
Exactly. Nugget's the best coworker I've ever had. She, she just jumps on the desk and gets in my way. It's fantastic. Uh,
Fantastic.
all right, so we will randomize this, and in about 3, a 2, a skiddly diddly doo. In the Tall Grass is a Netflix movie. In the Tall Grass, I think it's a Stephen King thing. Let's see. After hearing a boy's cry for help, a pregnant woman and her brother wade into a vast field of grass, only to discover there may be no way out. Based on books.
Which
Nice.
ones?
Yeah, exactly.
Just all books.
All books. But based on books. Every book ever written. I like how it says horror.
Not bad. Okay.
The genre is horror movies. So this is more than one movie. Strap in.
It's gonna be a long video.
It is being compared
podcast.
to It and The Bye Bye Man. So
Oh,
high hopes for this one.
don't say it. Don't think it. Don't say
Don't
it.
say it, don't think it, don't say it, don't think it.
The doo-doo man.
Yeah, the pee pee poo poo man. You won't be laughing when he kills you. That's one of my favorite jokes. That was one of the best memes ever. It's like, don't say it, don't think.
I loved it.
The pee pee poo poo man. You won't be laughing when he kills you. I kind of wish we got
I think it was. Oh, I know. I think Ralph the Movie Maker covered it once.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
That's where the doo-doo man came from.
Yeah, he said something similar. I know the meme was like the pee pee poo poo man. But he was like, this is the worst horror movie ever. And then he did like a skit about jump scares. And that was really good because like he was like, I'm gonna catch the elusive jump scare, and he was like, all right, we're gonna go in this room, we're gonna shut all the lights off, and maybe we'll get surprised by the jump scare. He's like, you can tell the jump scare is coming because you can hear the tone change in the music, and then. And then it was just some guy dressed in like a blanket or like a Snuggie or something, and he was like, "There he is!" And he like chases down the jump scare. It's ridiculous. I thought that was really good, but yeah, we're gonna be watching In the Tall Grass next. But go ahead.
I feel like this movie is gonna have a lot of jump scares just by the picture alone, just and the whole premise of it is being in tall grass. I feel like it's just gonna have a lot of jump scares. Like that's gonna be their crutch. It's just they're gonna be wading through. It's gonna be like a POV shot. They're running through the grass, and then boom, somebody's face.
Yeah. Yeah. The poster is upside down. That's very weird to me.
In the tall upside down grass.
Yes, and I think it's because In the Tall Grass had to be written in red for some reason, and on a white background. You couldn't just have that at the top.
Everyone knows red's the scariest color. It's blood color.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, they could have definitely just flipped it all around and still had In the Tall Grass up there.
Yep.
You're just trying to get cute with it.
It's supposed to look pretty. It does kind of look okay, but.
It's different.
Yeah. I think that's gonna wrap up the episode. Hopefully you had a good time, and we can watch this. We can watch this soon, and then do an episode on In the Tall Grass. I think it's a Stephen King movie. So from Shawn and Joe, from Shawn, and then Joe can say whatever he wants after this. This was the Fear and Brilliant podcast on the History of the World Part 1.
And hopefully this year, sometime we'll get History of the World Part 2.
Yep. And then we'll eventually get to cover that one. All right.
Yeah.
And thank you guys for, if you listen, thank you guys for listening. Bye.
Yes, we love you guys.
Yes.
Bye.